Today, Gaming America is talking to Jason Ader, who's been a very active investor in the gaming industry over the last 2 decades. He is a major shareholder at Playtech, and with Universal Entertainment, is currently one of a number of operators seeking to obtain a downstate New York casino license. Today, we're talking to him about most recent news out of New York State, the legalization of mobile sports betting. Mr. Ader, thank you for sitting with us today.
Yes, thank you, Cameron. Appreciate you having me.
So, getting right into it, mobile sports betting becoming legal in New York is perhaps some of the biggest news to happen since the overturning of PASPA in 2018. I was wondering if you could just speak to the greater significance of this moment in the industry.
It's a very exciting time. The numbers, the very early numbers have just been incredible. Not a surprise. There were a lot of players in New York who were just driving across the bridges in New York City into New Jersey and placing bets. We knew that was a very, a surprisingly big amount of New Jersey's play was that crossover market. So nobody needs to do that anymore. And in addition to that, it's a big state, and well, the New York football teams haven't been so great. There are other areas of focus, and so I really think the customers and the teams in New York will be very happy with the outcome. I just would highlight the area of concern is the tax rate. It's a very high tax rate relative to just about every other jurisdiction in the world, and we'll see how that plays out.
That was actually my next question. So the tax rate, I believe, is 51%, very high, as you noted. Is there a fear that this is going to cut into the profits that operators can make, for one, and for two, perhaps players will keep going to New Jersey because they'll get better deals, better odds, and things of that sort?
That's the risk. We're not seeing that yet. I mean, we're seeing a lot of material reduction in New York residents playing in New Jersey since legalization. Still very early days, so it's too short a time series to make a definitive conclusion. But I do worry that the tax rate is prohibitive, and sports betting is not an extraordinarily profitable part of the online gaming ecosystem. And when you look at the promotional activity from the operators in the market, and then you add the tax rate to it, it's not a great outcome for New York if all the operators are losing money to break even. It's important for any state that is legalizing an industry for the participants taking risk in that state to be able to pay their expenses and have a profit commensurate with that risk.
Sure. What about the sort of infrastructure of the deal, legal mobile betting infrastructure? Do you think it will? I mean, there are 9 operators now. Not all have been approved, I'm pretty sure, but there will be 9. And do you think this will change or evolve over time?
It's going to just get more competitive. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine, with a 51% tax rate and 9 operators promoting, NFL weekends and, Final Four and baseball as sort of we get through this various sports cycles. Just promotional activity is already high, and it's going to get higher. So it's something to watch closely. Something that is slightly worrisome, and something that really supports expanding the offerings, in my opinion, beyond sports. And I think the state will have an open mind about online casino, live table games, online bingo, online poker over time. This is really the first step in the proliferation of online casino and gaming offerings to the residents of New York.
Mm-hmm. What about the sort of nitty-gritty of the 9 operators who were awarded licenses? Who do you think will sort of emerge as a market leader?
Well, I'm partial to Flutter Entertainment. Having been involved with that company as a shareholder for a long time, and they of course bought our stake in Stars Group, and have just been always impressed, at how they operate the business, how profitable they are, their ability to really dominate, sports vertical, online casino vertical. Yeah, so Flutter to me is just a standout, best in class company, and you see it in their market share numbers as well, almost throughout the world, but certainly in the US. So that would be my pick. With respect to some of the other names, obviously DraftKings is an important company and one to watch, but one whose stock price has languished, and that's profitability has still evaded their business model. MGM, Caesars, significant players in online gaming. Penn, significant player, sort of not going to be involved in the New York market, just yet. I mean, surprising, Bet365 would have been, I think, a great entry into the market. It's not in the New York market yet. So let's we'll wait and see. But I think, without a doubt, FanDuel, is probably the odds-on favorite.
Mm-hmm. How about your role? You're an investor in the industry. Do you see any opportunities emerging now that the Empire State has decided to go ahead with legalization?
I mean, from an online perspective, taking a wait and see approach, really see how things play out. We've been longstanding shareholders of a business called Playtech, and it's a UK listed company, and it's an amazing technology business. I think the best out there, and Playtech is in the process of being acquired by Aristocrat. There's another group that may make a higher bid, but I do think Playtech will get acquired by Aristocrat. And there's just a lot of technology inside of Playtech's offerings and platform that would be amazing for just about every form of online gaming in the US. They've already proven that all over the world. So from my perspective, the best investment is the B2B model for online gaming, and Playtech, is really the number one in my view. The second operator, whose stock has fallen quite a bit, but also very interesting and I think noteworthy business model, is Evolution Gaming.
Sure. Now, New York is the media capital of the country, and it's also the headquarters of a lot of professional sports leagues. I know the major ones are all headquartered there. Do you think now that it's mobile betting is legal in New York, it's going to have a sort of domino effect in how mobile betting is treated or perceived across the nation?
I mean, I think it's already started. So I think New York will be, just another example of a state that legalized because there was gaming happening next door or around it in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. This has always been the way in gaming. And if you really go back to the history, why are there riverboat casinos in Louisiana? Well, because Mississippi, had it. People from Louisiana and Mississippi were doing sort of cross-border gaming. Same with Indiana and Illinois. So the spread of gaming has been, state by state, especially by those states that were adjacent to some of the pioneers in expansion. So New York, I think, will find that gaming generates significant tax revenues and far exceeds this experiment happening in New York with cannabis, which has really fallen short of expectations. It's below expectations in tax revenue. It's below expectations in jobs. There's a social cost that's far greater than I think New York and California had thought. It's the opposite in online gaming. Online gaming has exceeded expectations on every metric. So I do think that New York's expansion for sports betting just quickly leads to other forms of online gaming as 5G has been rolled out, and the ability to do lots of fun types of gaming, safe but fun types, responsible gaming, is coming over the next several years, and should be great for every state that legalizes.
Yes, I spoke to State Senator Joseph Adabo last week, and he was a big proponent of legalizing mobile sports betting. And now he says online gaming is sort of the online casino, the next big push that they're going to make in Albany. And his view is that it's legal in Jersey, so let's keep the dollars in here in the state. How do you see it unfolding in the next few years with online gaming? Could you just speak a little bit more detail about that?
I mean, online gaming, online casino, I mean, has gotten very safe in the mobile environment, and you really some great features to make sure that there's no underage gaming. There's a lot of tools to prevent problem gaming. I mean, it's evolved to the level where it's such a small percentage of problem gamers and underage gamers can even get through. And if they did, they'd be using fraudulent IDs or it's just I've been really impressed with the innovation. So that should give the government agencies really great comfort that this is not an area that needs a significant amount of government protection, because the technology is developed and improved throughout Europe. UK has been very focused on this area, as you know, and so in the US here we're sort of getting the benefit of lots of innovation, even AI-based systems, that can track problem gaming. As it relates to just expanding into online casino, the one area that I think is just going to be exciting to watch is live table games. They're great fun. They've really come a long way. The dealers do have the ability to interact with players on a name-by-name basis, and it's just a very 5 to 10 years ago, it just looked like you were playing video slots. Now you really have an interactive social experience, and I only imagine that's getting better. And some of the tools and some of the products that have come out of evolution and have come out of Playtech have really been impressive.
Mm-hmm. For my last question, I wanted to harken back to the conversation we had a little while back about the downstate casino licenses. And you with Universal Entertainment have this Mirai project that you want to see come to pass in New York. I'm wondering how the sort of course of legalization, mobile betting, and then maybe online casinos, how is this going to affect these sorts of land-based operators in New York?
Well, look, New York is a state that's lost a lot of people. It's one of the biggest outflow of migration of all the states. New York and California, tax rates are very high there for income and for businesses. Businesses are leaving. Crime is up. Spending is up. Budget shortfalls are at unprecedented levels. So there aren't that many tools other than continuing to raise taxes. It's hard. That would be hard to imagine, in a lot of ways. So I do think that more land-based casinos are coming, and they should really provide a solution beyond tax revenues. If done correctly, they can create construction jobs. They can create economic impact. They can create, tourism growth. The integrated resort model is one that's proven all over the world, and I think New York City and the greater New York City market, would be perfect locations for that.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Ader, those are all of my questions. Thank you very much for sitting down with us.
Great. Thanks for having me.